welcome to Speakers on Edge. We're doing 15 minutes of fame, and my guest today is Dawn. Dawn, who are you?
Hi, my name is Dawn Mattera Corsi. I'm an author, speaker, and coach who helps people over 40 create a life of purpose, passion, courage, and connection. And I do that through how you're probably going to ask how.
I was going to ask, okay, that's too polished. That's too polished for the show.
All right. Okay.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
Yes, because I find that people, especially women over 40 and into their 50s and 60s, we start to feel invisible, irrelevant. We start to wonder, is this all there is to life? Is there something more? We start to possibly feel invisible and irrelevant. And I'm here to tell people, especially my fellow friends over 40, that it's never too late. You're never too old to dust off those dreams and create that life that you've always wanted to have. Making the rest of your life the best of your life.
This is great, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay, I like it. I'm ready.
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? Because so many people, they go home to work, and they never really, they die with their dreams still inside of them. And so they're sad, depressed, and especially with everything that's going on in the world, people do start to feel that there's no hope. And one of my favorite Italian proverbs is, as long as there is life, there is hope. So we need to go out there and make a difference. I want to leave this world a little better than how I found it. And how do we do that? By connecting with others and helping others get what they want, and making a difference in our communities, making a difference in where we work, in our homes, of course, with our family and friends. And I started down this path because it's funny, as the older you get, you look at the hourglass and you think, wow, there's a lot less sand at the top than there is at the bottom of that hourglass. What am I going to do with this? Am I just going to exist for the rest of my life, or am I going to do something to make a difference? And so I have 3 ways that I do it: lead, live, and legacy. Leading is for my corporate clients, where I teach these success principles. I'm one of Jack Canfield's success principles trainers. The living part is about what I have a keynote speech, and I'm creating a course called 5 Keys to a Dolce Vita. And then the legacy part is about connecting to your heritage and teaching your family traditions and values to not only keep them alive and to honor our ancestors, but also connecting with other people of like mind. And that's how we have a richer life, with courage, connection, passion, and purpose.
And what put you on this path?
I think for me, it was that hourglass, that I looked at how much time was left. For example, my parents died very young. My mom when she was 67, my dad when he was only 70, and I'm in my 60s now. So I look at that and I realize a lot of people, that might be depressing. They might say, oh, Dawn, that's a really sad way to look at the end of your life. No, it puts a fire under me, because I realize, hey, I only have this much time. I don't have the luxury of saying, someday I will do this, someday I'll do that. No, I need to do it now.
You most certainly do. Now, you use a very interesting word there that I have a very soft spot for, dolce vita.
Yes.
Which translated means?
Yes, it is an Italian phrase that means the sweet life, but it goes beyond that. It's a life of first of all, you've probably heard of blue zones, where those are certain areas of the world that people live to be over 100 years old. One of the blue zones is Sardinia, Italy. And some of the things that they found for these people in Sardinia that living over 100 is, of course, the Mediterranean diet, that they are staying active. And the big thing is that they have a strong sense of community. They're staying involved with what's going on. And even as we get older, maybe we can't run around physically, but we can be mentors to the younger generations. So that dolce vita is about savoring life and making the most of it, and not always, definitely don't live in the past. We can learn from the past, but we don't want to stay wallowed in it, especially if we have failures or things we're embarrassed about or regrets. Don't stay there. What's more important is the future, but also don't focus so much on the future that you're missing the beauty and joy of today. So it's really enjoying and savoring every moment. And it comes down to, I think for me, I'm a second generation Italian American. And so a lot of what I write and teach about is that dolce vita. And for the Italian culture, probably a lot of others, it comes down to what I call the four F's: faith, family, friends, and food. Now, of course, the Italian food is awesome, but you know what? It's not just about the food. It's about what happens around the food. Everyone's sitting together, laughing, sharing. And that's where we start to learn from each other, learn about people's hearts, what's important to them. And the values are passed on from the older generation to the younger generation. So La Dolce Vita is something that we can all create right where we are starting today.
I love that, the sweetest life,
Yeah.
because I had a juice bar on the Gold Coast many years ago, about 20 years ago now, and we had gelati.
Oh, my favorite.
And the man who was making it, he was a compounding pharmacist from Argentina
Huh.
with 5 children, and he'd migrated to Australia, couldn't do his pharmaceutical work, so he used his compounding pharmacy knowledge and that power with ingredients to make the most delicious gelati I had ever tasted.
Oh, I can imagine.
It was incredible. And he would deliver me the gelati in 5 litre, or were they 10 litre
Oh my
contain?
goodness.
These big long containers that would go into my fridge in the shop, and I would scoop out of them.
Sure.
But of course, I would take some of those home. Being the owner of the shop, I would have my favorite flavors and take them home. And I had to buy a bigger freezer for home because of the gelati.
That's funny. I love it. But hey, we have our priorities, and gelati is definitely a priority in my life. As a matter of fact, I put in every bio I end that my research for the best gelato in the world continues, and it's scientific, purely scientific. So the calories don't count.
I have a lifelong ice cream addiction, and so I'm quite comfortable with that search myself. There's no problem there whatsoever. But I do want to ask about an adventure you had in Rome.
Are you referring?
Because I read your bio and I went, okay, I've got to ask, what was this lesson in Rome?
Yes, everyone asks about that, and it was a blast. We took gladiator lessons in Rome, and first of all, one of our passions, we love to travel, and we don't like doing all the touristy things. We like doing the crazy things, and so before we travel, I love to plan it, and I will literally type these words into a search bar: unusual things to do in, and then I put the city or wherever we're going. And that's how I found gladiator lessons. And it's a place about half a mile away from the Colosseum. And it's actually an educational outreach where they travel around the world teaching about ancient Roman history. Now, what's a great way to get anybody involved in history is to make it fun, especially for kids. So they'll have the gladiators that will talk about it and teach about it. And so we went to their headquarters, and we went into the lesson. And you have the real helmets, and they're brass. They must weigh like 40 pounds or something. They're so heavy, and you can only see out this much. No peripheral vision. So here you are, your head's like this. And then they give you a wooden shield and a wooden sword. So don't worry, there was no bloodshed in this. And so they took us on a tour, and then my husband and I have our giant helmets on and our Roman cloak things. And then our instructor comes out. He comes out. Do you remember that movie with Brad Pitt where he played like a Greek god? I think it was Troy was the name of the movie. I can't remember exactly. But that's what our instructor looked like. Oh my goodness. And he's swinging the sword and all tough and cocky and everything. And so I go first and he holds up his shield and I'm just tapping with my wooden sword because I'm a lover, not a fighter. And so he got bored with me pretty quickly. But then my husband, he got up there. And so here's whatever his name was. And my husband very gently tapping his sword like I did. So as soon as my husband saw the guy get bored and look away, my husband grabbed the shield and boom, pushed him to the ground and stuck the sword down and said, aha, you're dead. That old adage about something about age and treachery is better than youth and whatever it is. But it was
that
fun.
is brilliant. That is you don't trust the aged because they have more wisdom than you.
We do.
And that is strategy. But did your husband apply that to other parts of his life as well?
Oh my gosh, yes. My husband's amazing, first of all. He retired a few years ago from the fire department, and he has always been a person of strength, not just physical strength, but mental strength too. And he's always taking that, every problem that we face, we can figure this out. Now, yeah, there might be some swear words thrown in there, but we will figure out how to do it.
I'm just giggling. Yeah, there might be some swear words in there. Has that rubbed off on you?
Oh, well, I'll say this. I'm not much of a swearing person, but I have said I have been known to occasionally, when absolutely necessary, drop an F-bomb. But very rare, very rare.
Oh, look, it happens with the best of us.
Right.
And I know my TV blooper reel from some of the TV shows I've been on. And yes, sometimes the F-bomb is absolutely needed in those times.
Yeah,
you've got to let that emotion out. Now, if there was one message to give people, you've said already, you've got the 3 steps: lead, live, and legacy.
Right. Yeah.
What would be the most important thing that people need to hear today from you?
Yes. That their best life is not a dream, but a choice. And every day we can make that choice of what can we do. No matter how big or little that dream or goal is of yours, that what's one thing you can do today to make that a reality? What's one thing that you can do to make the world a better place? It could be something as simple as holding the door open for somebody or paying for that coffee for the car behind you in the drive-through. What's something, maybe you've always wanted to write a book. Well, maybe today you can come up with a title, and tomorrow you come up with a chapter by chapter outline. Every day, we don't need to know all the steps in the staircase. We just need to know what's your next best step. And after a while, I mean, it's like snowflakes. We get one snowflake, no big deal, but we get a bunch of them, they gang up on us, and there's an impact. So let's make that next best step to create a life that we love. And then we start to glow. We start to be enthusiastic. And people see that, and you know what? They become inspired that they too can create their best life.
Now, if somebody wants your help, who's watching here today, and they go, yeah, she knows exactly where I'm at. Yeah, I need to talk to her.
Yes.
I want to talk to her. Where can they find you?
Yes, they can find me on, of course, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, believe it or not. And probably the best way, though, is to go to my website, which is yourdolcevita.com.
Yourdolcevita.com.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, what we're also going to do is we're going to have your beautiful photo on our website, on our Speakers on Edge website. And there'll be a button that links to your website from us. So if people get lost, there's always a place for them to go.
Exactly.
I do want to ask one more question.
Of course.
What was it like driving the vintage Vespas?
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. We love riding motorcycles here in the United States, Harleys and Aprilias, but in Italy, it's got to be the Vespa, right? And it's so iconic. And you're out there and you feel the wind in your hair, and you can smell the pine as you drive by a grove of pines, and or bread baking, and it's so beautiful. And you just feel you're not just sitting there watching; you're in the environment. We love it.
And on that, we loved having you here on the show. That's it for 15 Minutes of Fame on Speakers on Edge. Your story, your way. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Dawn.
You're welcome. Ciao.